Welcome to Buddhist View podcast, and my name is Concha Lakyap. I am here with my good friend Khenpo Tashi.
Dhondup.
Thank you very much, Tashi Dhondup, for taking this time to have a chat with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, La.
Yeah. So maybe we can start. You can tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you from? How did you encounter the Dharma?
Okay, my name is Tashi Dhondup. I'm from Ladakh. When I was like 10 years old, I became a monk in front of late Drikung Kagyu. And then I studied in Pyang Monastery for 3 years, almost 3 years. And then
Which monastery?
Pyang Monastery in Ladakh.
Ladakh.
Yeah, it's also one of the main monastery of Drikung Kagyu lineage in Ladakh. So after studied there for almost 4 years, and then I moved to Dehradun, India, to study further in Buddhist philosophy in 2003. And then I started to study the basic Buddhist teaching there.
Is that the Shedra? Or
Not Shedra.
yet?
For first 2 or 3 years, I studied the basic Tibetan language, as I am from Ladakh, so I couldn't speak English, couldn't speak Tibetan, So I had to study the Tibetan language, and then the basic teachings and rituals, and also the modern knowledge. And then 2007, and then I was quite ready to move to Shedra Buddhist College in Dehradun itself.
So just for those who don't know, the Shedra is a monastic university.
Monastic university, yeah.
Yeah, so it's where the monks would study more deep levels of Buddhist philosophy.
Yes, that's correct. So yeah, since 2007, I studied Buddhist philosophy, starting from Bodhicharya-Avatara, and then Tibetan grammar and poetry, and then epistemology, Buddhist epistemology, Brahmana, and then gradually, I have studied all the major Indian Buddhist philosophy texts like Madhyamaka, and then Bodhicharya-Avatara, and then all the great Buddhist texts for 10 years. And then 2016, I was graduated from Kagyu College, and then I was enthroned as an assistant Khenpo in 2017. And then I teach there for almost 4 years in Kagyu College as an assistant professor
in
Dehradun, Kagyu College. Yeah, where I teach there for like almost 4 years until COVID comes, And then during the COVID, we couldn't resume our annually Buddhist, classes there. So during the COVID, I was like, like very sad, and it's like we all have to, quarantine for almost a year. So during that time, I feel like to go for retreat. And then, I moved to Nepal, where my guru, Drubwang Rinpoche, was there, and I felt like to go there to do my retreat, as this wish to do retreat is there from the last, since 2005. For the first time, I learned about the Bodhicharya-Avatara. So this wish to do retreat is there from the very, long time. So I felt it's the right time to do my retreat. So I moved to Nepal in 2021. Then I did my retreat until now.
So you came and you went directly into Tara Sangchen, or?
Yeah, I directly came to Rinchen Monastery first. So my guru advised me to stay in the monastery itself for the first 5 months, as I was, beginner. I have no experience of retreat, sitting in a small room, and it's quite difficult as a beginner. So Rinpoche, I didn't.
Nupa Rinpoche.
Yeah, Nupa Rinpoche. Nupa Rinpoche just advising me to stay in the monastery and start my retreat, starting from long life sadhana, as in our Drikung Kagyu lineage. We start from Buddha Amitayus Sadhana for the first 10 days, which is to avoid the obstacle in the upcoming 3-year retreat.
So you were doing that already in Rinchen before going to the retreat center, Tara Sangchen.
At that time, even there's no place in Tara Sangchen retreat center. All was full,
I see.
So not just me, few of us were starting retreat in Rinchen monastery for the first few months. Then I got the retreat hard in Tara Sangchen. Then I moved there and resumed my retreat.
So before going into all the details of the retreat curriculum, maybe you mentioned you're a monk from the Drikung Kagyu lineage. Maybe you can tell us, like, what is the Drikung Kagyu lineage?
Drikung Kagyu lineage is founded by Lord Jigten Sumgon, one of the most famous student of Pakmo Drupa. It's actually a Kagyu lineage, but in Kagyu lineage there are different schools, sub-schools. And then...
So from within Tibetan Buddhism, there is, usually they say there's four main lineages.
Lineages.
So out of these, one is Kagyu?
Yeah, one is Kagyu. Within Kagyu itself, there's different sects, small sects. So Drikung Kagyu is one of the school. And within Kagyu,
all these Kagyu branch off of Lord Gampopa.
Yes,
right?
Yes. And Pakmo Drupa was one of the main student of Lord Gampopa. And then Jigten Sumgon was a main student of Lord Pakmo Drupa. So in 1179, Lord Jigten Sumgon founded the first Drikung Kagyu monastery in Tibet, Drikung Til monastery. And since then, this lineage come into exist. And there were, it is very famous in Tibetan history that Lord Jigten Sumgon has the most student in any Tibetan Buddhism school at that time. It was like 18,000 monks, student of Lord Jigten Sumgon. So Drikung Kagyu lineage spread it all over Tibet and around Asia, and also in China and Mongolia and Ladakh, Himalaya, spread it all over those places. Yeah. And many students of Lord Jigten Sumgon came from other countries, even some students from India, and then Mongolia and Xinjiang and Himalaya region. Yeah, so since from that until now, our root guru, His Holiness Drikung Kagyu Chetang Rinpoche, and also His Holiness Drikung Kagyu Chungsan Rinpoche is the present throne holder of Drikung Kagyu lineage. So until now, the throne, he is 37th throne holder of Drikung Kagyu lineage so far. Yeah.
So most lineages generally have one main lama who is the head of the lineage, but maybe you can explain to us why Drikung has two heads.
Okay, this is kind of unique in Drikung Kagyu lineage that we have two throne holder. And this tradition is not from the beginning of Drikung Kagyu lineage, from Lord Jigten Sumgon. It was not there. And then from Lord Jigten Sumgon to until the first Chezang and first Chungzang, first Chezang, Rinchen, and first Chungzang, Kunkin Rizin Chogi Tauba, who is the last, until their time, there only one throne holder of Drikung Kagyu lineage. It is of Kyura clan. It comes from the Kyura clan of Lord Jigten Sumgun. And then during the time of Kunkin Rinchen Chugitaba,
which is better known as Drikung Dharmakirti.
Yeah, Drikung Dharmakirti, very famous teacher at that time. And then from that on, the clan of Kyura is vanished. It just vanished there, and then they couldn't find the blood lineage there. And then since then, Drikung Kagyu lineage started to recognize the reincarnation of the first Chezang and Chungzang.
Also, before it was more like a family genetic lineage.
Family, lineage, like Sakya and others, So since then,
up until which is this Rinchen Phuntsok? Was he the last, or this is
no?
Okay.
Yawang Kunkin Rinchen Chugitaba. Yawang Koncho Rinchen is the elder brother, and then Kunkin Rinchen Chugitaba is a younger brother.
And who is their father?
Their father, Chogyur Rinchen Phuntsok.
Okay.
Son of Rinchen Phuntsok.
Okay.
So they have 4 brothers. First, Narutashi Phuntsok, and then Yawang Koncho Rinchen, and then 5th Jamarpa, and then the small one, youngest one, is Kunkin Rinchen Chugitaba.
Also, 5th Sharmapa is also the relative.
Yeah, also their brother. Yeah. So 5th or 6th, I think 6th Jamarpa. Yeah. Since then, Koncho Rinchen was the elder brother, and then Kunkin Rinchen Chugitaba is a younger brother. Of their reincarnation, then we studied the first Chezang and Chungzang. Chezang means the elder one, Chungzang means the younger one. So the reincarnation of Koncho Rinchen, which is Chezang Rinpoche, is until now it's 7th reincarnation. And then Kunkin Rinchen Chugitaba, until now is Chungzang Rinpoche is 8th reincarnation. Yeah. So since then it becomes 2 throne holder. Yeah.
And you mentioned their father is Rinchen Phuntsok.
Chogyur Rinchen
Phuntsok, which is interesting also because I understand he's a Tertan. He discovered some Terma, right?
Rinchen Phuntsok, Rinchen Phuntsok is their grandfather actually.
Oh, is their grandfather?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is the Tertan of Yangzab and
Yes.
Chitro.
Yes, maybe you can say a little bit about this.
Rinchen Phuntsok was a throne holder of Drikung Kagyu, and then at a very young age, he flee from Drikung, he went away. He cannot hold the responsibility of Drikung Kagyu, and then he passed it to the next throne holder, and he went, left from the monastery as a chattel,
So he was supposed to take charge of the monastery, but he escaped.
Yeah, he kept the charge of the monastery for a few years, and then not much time he passed on to another, and he went as a chattel around to meet many teachers and receive teachings. And then during that time, he have this prophecy to reveal the Yangzab teaching, to reveal from one of the place of Guru Rinpoche in Tibet, Kiriyangzong cave in Tibet. I think it is a retreat place of Guru Rinpoche in Ichet-Sogel. Yeah. So from then on, the Yangzab teaching got very famous in Drikung lineage, also in Nyingma lineage. The first 2 throne holders comes from Kunkin Rinchen Chugitaba and Koncho Rinchen. Yeah.
So ever since then, the Chetsang Rinpoche and Chusang Rinpoche lineage has been ongoing with 2 heads, and now, as I understand, the current Chetsang Rinpoche is doing 3-year retreat in Bhutan.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, La.
And nowadays, where is the current Chungzang Rinpoche these days?
As His Holiness Drikung Chetsang Rinpoche, as you know, he is in retreat, 3-year retreat in Bhutan. Chungzang Rinpoche is in Tibet now. Yeah, he's already 84 years old and he's doing very fine. He's very healthy. And mostly
84. He's
already 84 years old, and he mostly live in Tibet. And Chesang Rinpoche mostly travel around the world and live in India. But now he's in retreat.
And he's doing a 3-year retreat, Losum Choktum.
Yes, he's doing that at the age of 80. He's now 80 years old, and he's very, still very active and curious to do 3-year retreat even at this age. Yes.
Then I heard that the Drikung Kagyu has a big emphasis in retreat practice, more so than other lineages. Can you maybe tell us how does the retreat process? What is the curriculum? Because normally what people think is that one can directly join a 3-year retreat, but within the Drikung, in order to be able to join into a 3-year retreat program, there are many prerequisite retreats that also take many years before joining the 3-year retreat. And I believe you are partaking in this process. And then also going back to your story you were telling us. So now going back to Rinchen Ling, and maybe you can connect it with the normal curriculum of the Drikung retreat.
So there are 4 major Buddhist schools in Tibetan Buddhism, right? Sakya, Nyingma, Gelug, and Kagyu. So those 4 lineages have different way of practice Dharma. Some of them taking, learning philosophy, Buddhist teaching is as a main practice. And then like Kagyu, they mainly focus on practice more than the study, They don't spend many years in studying philosophy and Buddhist teaching. So like Sakya and Gelug, they spend many years to study philosophy and all the teachings.
But you spent 10 years, you said, no? Studying.
Yeah, nowadays also the Kagyu lineage focuses on study, but not long time like Gelug and Sakya do, right? So nowadays all Kagyupa has Shedra, college, Buddhist university, where we study all Buddhist philosophies and lineage texts, very famous texts like Gongchik and Tenging.
So do you think this is a new, or I'm sure you know, how old is the Shedra? How old has it been since the Shedra system was incorporated in the Kagyu? Has it been long?
When we see in the history, there are few Shedras studied back in 13th century. Yeah, according to Pao Tsulok Tengwa, the first Drikung Kagyu Shedra was founded by 10th Drikung Kagyu Thornholder, Kungen Damnichogi Gyabo in Tibet. So that was the first Shedra of Drikung Kagyu lineage.
What year would this be?
It was in 14th century.
Okay.
14th century, the 10th Thornholder of Drikung Kagyu lineage. And then, according to Pao Tsulok Tengwa, Jisun Tsongkhapa, the founder of Gelug lineage, was the first Khenpo of Drikung Kagyu lineage.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the 10th Thornholder of Drikung Kagyu lineage assigned Gyalwa Tsongkhapa as a Khenpo in that Shedra. Now it's a Galden monastery, according to Pao Tsulok Tengwa, but many people do not agree with this.
Well, so Ganden was the Drikung Shedra.
Ganden was they provided all the necessary things, like they built the monastery, as a first Drikung Shedra, and then Yawan Tsongkhapa was assigned as a Khenpo and teach mainly Gongchik, the single intention, the most famous treatise in Drikung Kagyu lineage. He teach there for like 7 years. And then gradually he started to teach his own views and philosophy that he was very famous, very learned person at that time. Yeah, then later, much later in early 20th century, there was Nyima Changra Shedra back in Tibet, where many famous experts in Buddhist philosophy came. So there are also Shedra in Nyima Changra. Now it's no more in Chinese invasion. It was destroyed. So later then, His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche founded in Dehradun.
The current
Chetsang Rinpoche founded Shedra in Dehradun, India, in 1985. Yeah, and also in Drikung Til Monastery now we have Shedra. Yeah, and there are monks studying philosophy, but we here in Dehradun we only study 10 years in Shedra. Yeah. Then in Kagyu, like Kagyu schools, they mainly focus on retreat. But nowadays it becomes common to every lineage that we also should study this philosophy at least 10 years and then move to retreat. Yeah. But in the old time, like Kagyu practitioner receive the teachings from their guru and mainly focus on retreat and practicing. Yeah.
So going back to the particular style of Drikung Kagyu meditation approach and progressive stages of the meditation retreat curriculum, maybe you can tell us if one was to start from the beginning, assuming they've already studied some texts and have basic understanding, like in your case, for example.
In Drikung Kagyu tradition, we mainly practice 5-form Mahāmudrā, which has 5 points like preliminary, and then Deity practice, 4 kayas of Guru Yoga practice, and then Mahāmudrā practice, and then last dedication practice. And then within the first preliminary, there are 11 different preliminaries practice. Like first, the refuge, first 4 mind changing. We count it as 4, where we spend like 1 week for each mind changing, like it's 28 days to meditate upon 4 mind changing. Before starting the retreat curriculum, we usually do the Amitayus Sadhana, long life sadhana for like 10 days or 15 days. It's up to the practitioner, So this is, we practice for, about the obstacle during the upcoming practices that would take like few years.
So in Drikung Kagyu tradition, you would start with Amitayus, which is the Buddha of long life, in order to remove the obstacles in the beginning. And what would you follow, and how long would you do each part of the retreat?
For like after the long life sadhana, then we start from 4 mind changing. Each 4 mind changing we usually do 1 week. So that 4 mind changing is about 28 days. We meditate upon 4 mind changing and transform our mindset towards the Dharma practice. And then this regarded as very important practice, as it is Ngodrup, preliminary. But in Drikung Kagyu lineage, we regarded the preliminaries as the main, like more important than the real actual practice. Lord Jigten Sumgön says that the Ngodrups, like preliminaries are more important than the actual practice. Because this is the foundation, Without foundation, we cannot build the building. Like, for example, without the stable foundation, we cannot build the tall buildings, right? So we focus preliminaries as a very important practice. So after the four mind changing, then we move to the refuge practice. Refuge practice usually in Drikung Kagyu lineage, the refuge practice, the chanting is quite longer than other lineages, very long, Along with the refuge, then we have to do procession 100,000 times, 100,000 times procession along with refuge recitation. It almost take 2.5 months to finish the refuge practice along with 100,000 procession. And then next, Vajrasattva practice, which is we practice mainly to purify our negative karma, which is like blockage for our realization. So from the beginningless time until now, we have accumulated a lot of negative karma. So we have to purify with this Vajrasattva practice. And this is also practice 100,000 times. And it takes averagely like 35 to 40 days. Yeah. And then we move to the third Ngodrup, Mandala practice, which also have to do the 100,000 times with Mandala. In the old tradition, we do also 100,000 times procession with Mandala. But now, present His Holiness Chasam Rinpoche changed the style of practicing Mandala, and now it's up to us. No need to do the procession, but to offer 100,000 times Mandala. Then we practice Mandala as to accumulate the merit, to realize the actual Mahamudra. We have to purify our mind, and then we have to accumulate merit. So, and Mandala offering is very popular in every lineage to accumulate positive karma, multiply. It's multiply many merits by offering. It's, like in physical, we just offer some grains and like this, but mentally we have to visualize all the, like universe filled with beautiful things, like precious things, and also our past, present, and future virtuous things, and also our body. We have to offer Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and your gurus. So it is mostly with our mind. Every practice, in Buddhist teaching, mind is the main, like physical and speech is the secondary. So from Bodhi, we offer the 7 mandala like this, but with mind, we have to visualize offering everything like Kundu Sampo offerings. Yeah. So it takes like 2 months again. And then the next one is Guru Yoga. There is 2 Guru Yoga in Fivefold Mahamudra. This is the Guru Yoga in the preliminary section. So this Guru Yoga, we have to see our root guru as a Vajradhara, and then surrounded by the lineage gurus here, and then we have to generate the pure devotion. Not just blindly, but we have to understand their qualities of body, speech, and mind. Therefore, as my guru is not just a guru, he's a very expert in Buddhist teaching, and then also very practical. He's been in retreat for more than 10 years in Lapchi. Yes. So he advised us to read more biographies of lineage gurus, so that you can understand their pure quality. So therefore you can generate devotion, not just reciting the supplications without understanding anything. It doesn't make sense. There's no meaning. So we have to know their qualities, their hard work towards the practice, teaching, and holding this lineage. So after that, then we have to do another 100,000 times supplication to Guru, and it takes like 35 to 40 days again. Then, and the next is the special preliminary, which are like love, compassion, and bodhicitta. So we have to meditate on love for 21 days, and then compassion for another 21 days. But it differs with the different students and teachers, Some only, meditate for 10 days or 15 days, sometimes 21 days, sometimes only a week. So before we actually meditate on loving compassion, we have to understand the technique to how to meditate on loving compassion. So therefore we have different instruction manual. We have to study, we have to receive teaching from our guru, and then we have to study to understand the techniques. And then we enter into the retreat and start meditating. And then this loving compassion meditation is, you're no need to just stay in your room. You can also go outside in the jungle and see the insects eating each other, and then they're, like a worm eaten by ants, and then they're having the suffering, and we can see that in our eyes. So our Rinpoche advised us to go in the forest and see those beings having suffering, and then we can generate love and compassion. So we have to do that like a month on loving and compassion. And then I personally use the Gampopa's jewel ornament text, which is, I found, the most beautiful, like instruction on how to meditate on loving compassion. So it was really good for me. I just practice according to jewel ornament of teaching. And then after that we have to practice the bodhicitta. And then this, after we have meditated on love and compassion, then we have generate the, like pure heart for the benefits of all sentient beings to get rid from this samsara and get the full enlightenment. Okay, so we are ready at that time. The practitioner is ready to have the pure bodhicitta to generate. So we have to, in every instruction, our root guru do not instruct all together. It's up to, like the student have to finish one part, and then we have to come out of the retreat and have to receive the next teaching again, and then study for a few days, and then enter the retreat again, and then finish like this. All the instruction cannot teach all together. So after compassion, we meditate on taking bodhicitta. And it's also, there's 2 stanzas of chanting, supplication to take bodhicitta, along with another 100,000 times procession. And it also takes like more than 2 months. Yeah. After bodhicitta practice, then within the heart of bodhicitta, we should arise as a deity practice. Like as Lord Jigten Sumgön says, that all the deities are the embodiment of bodhicitta.
Is this already the 5-fold Mahamudra, or this is before 5-fold?
Which one?
The one you're explaining now.
These are all Ngodrup.
This is before you enter fivefold Mahamudra.
No, it's already entered.
Oh, this is already entered. Okay.
There's 5 points. What I'm explaining now is the part of Ngodrup, preliminary practice, which is the first point of fivefold Mahamudra. And in Drikung Kagyu lineage, there are 11 different Ngodrup or preliminaries practice, like for mind changing, and then Refuge, and then Vajrasattva practice, Mandala, and then Guru Yoga, and then Love, Compassion, and Bodhicitta. Altogether, it's 11 Ngodrup. After finishing Ngodrup, it almost take 10 to 11 months to finish all Ngodrups. Yeah. And then we move to second, which is the Deity practice. And then we usually practice Chakrasamvara, 5 deities of Chakrasamvara in the lineage. Mostly in all Kagyu lineage, we practice Chakrasamvara as a main deity. Because even it is said that even in India past, Siddhas got realization through the practice of Chakrasamvara. Like 70% of them got enlightenment through the practice of Chakrasamvara. So Chakrasamvara practice can be regarded as a very important deity practice in all Kagyu lineage. So we practice the 5 deities of Chakrasamvara in Drikung lineage. And then deity is the embodiment of Bodhicitta, Many people do not understand that just because of the outer appearance of, wrathful deities and like the union deities, they have big misunderstanding, All deities, is an embodiment of Bodhicitta, arise as a Bodhicitta out of love and compassion. Then we have a pure wish to generate enlightenment for all sentient beings, and then we generate ourselves as a deity, Chakrasamvara. And then Chakrasamvara deity practice, very strict. And then we have to enter into the retreat. First, we have to receive the initiation, and then instruction, and then lung also. And we have to also learn the chaklin, like the practical, how to practice Chakrasamvara. And it takes a long time to study before entering the retreat, actual retreat. So it is very strict deity practice. We cannot communicate with people. We have to, collect our food before for 3 months. Almost it takes 3 months.
That's how long it takes.
Yeah. And then we have to, collect our food before, because we are entering into the retreat for next 3 months, so we cannot communicate with people. So they're different in practicing Chakrasamvara, like some practitioner in Lapchi, they practice for 6 months, and some 3 months. And then there are also, particular numbers of chanting mantras, like 400,000 times, and then 600,000 times, and there's also timing of 6 months.
There's different mantras, or one mantra different times?
Yeah, one mantra different times.
Okay.
Like one mantra we have to recite 400,000 times, like 4 lakh, and some chant 6 lakh, and some chant many for 6 months. And then this is related to Vajrayana practice, so it is very deep if we have to understand the meaning of Vajrayana. It's very deep. Without properly study, that's very risky for the practitioner to go astray, like practice wrongly. So our guru instruct very well. So yeah, it takes like 3 months to complete Chakrasamvara. And then the next is 4 kayas of Guru Yoga practice. And this is like special in Drikung Kagyu lineage than other schools of Tibetan Buddhism and the other Kagyu lineage. So we practice 4 kayas of Guru Yoga. It is like gradually we improve our realization, our understanding, our wisdom, our devotion. After the deity practice, we practice 4 kayas of Guru Yoga. And then this is very special in Drikung Kagyu lineage, because other lineage have, I'm not sure that it is said that it is special to Drikung Kagyu lineage. Also, the other Kagyu lineage have Guru Yoga practice, but not in the 4 kayas of Guru Yoga practice. So the first kaya is Nirvana kaya, right? So this is the stages of our realization and devotion of the practitioner. Like first, we cannot see our Guru as a Dharmakaya, because our devotion and realization is quite low. So first, we have to see our Guru, root Guru, as a Nirmanakaya, like Buddha Shakyamuni. We have to visualize our root Guru as a Buddha Shakyamuni in front of our space, and all the lineage gurus surrounded there. And then we have to see our root Guru as the real Buddha Shakyamuni, Nirmanakaya form. And then there are hundreds of thousands of supplication we have to chant, not just blindly, not just for counting. We have to understand the root Guru's Buddhist special mind and its qualities, just like a Buddha. We have to remember his all qualities, and we have to generate the pure devotion. Okay. So then it takes like 2.5 months for the Nirmanakaya form of Guru Yoga. And then next, this practice makes our devotion very strong. That the practitioner is ready to see their root Guru as a Sambhogakaya. Sambhogakaya usually seen in a Longu, we call it Longu, means there are a lot of qualities of 32 major marks and 84 minor marks of Buddha's quality, adorned with all the silk, like clothes and ornaments and all the like things. And we have to see our root Guru as a Sambhogakaya form, of Vajrasattva, right? The white one, Vajrasattva. We have to see our root Guru as a Vajrasattva, and then all the lineage gurus surrounded, and that means our realization and devotion has quite improved. So now it's regarded as we can see your Guru as a Sambhogakaya. Then there's Guru mantra. We have to chant 100,000 times with pure devotion and single-pointedly, without distracting our mind. We have to focus on the Guru's qualities and the meaning of the supplication and the mantras. And then it takes like 15 to 21 days. And then next is Dharmakaya form of Guru Yoga. In this practice, we have to see our Guru as a Dharmakaya, not separate from our own natural mind, which is also Dharmakaya. But at this level, the practitioners are regarded as a, like quite ready to understand, quite close to the Dharmakaya. It's a stages level of practitioner. And then there are two, like two kind of doing this Guru Yoga of Dharmakaya. Some gurus instruct their student to meditate for 1 month, on single pointedly on the guru as a Vajradhara in front of your space, and then meditate on that for a month. And then some other gurus instruct their student to supplication, another supplication, different words, but supplication 100,000 times. For me, it was 1 month meditation. After some supplication to your guru, then we have to just concentrate your mind, not separate from the, your root guru as a Dharmakaya. And then next is the Swabhavika Dharmakaya, Swabhavika Kaya, right? Which is the inseparability of all three Kayas. Mm-hmm. And then this have to offer the 7 limbs prayer, 7 branch prayers of the ultimate 7 branch prayer, which is composed by Lord Jigten Sumgun. And then this is so deep in meaning itself, We have to see our mind not different from the mind of your root guru. We have to see the mind of all sentient beings as one, as a Dharmakaya, pure, enlightened, with all the qualities of Buddha. At that time, we have to have that kind of realization and devotion. So we understand that Guru is not somewhere outside. We can see and feel the Guru is every time in our mind, heart. Your root Guru is, as now, in a person form we can see your root Guru, but ultimately your root Guru is here in your mind as a Swabhavikakaya, right? So it takes another 3 months. We have to chant the supplication and send branch prayer for 100,000 times. So it takes almost 3 months. And then this all finished the 4 kayas of Guru Yoga. And then next.
So that was the third of the 5, right?
Yeah, the third of the 5, yeah. The fourth one is the actual Mahamudra practice. Before we actually practice Mahamudra, we have to train our mind with Shamatha and Vipassana. And then we have to train or meditate on Shamatha for 21 days. Some master instruct their student for, they advise them for a month, and then Vipassana for a month. For me, it was 21 days to each Shamatha and Vipassana. Because we cannot practice Mahamudra directly, as our mind, usually from the beginningless time until now, is distracted all the time. It just follows the thoughts and emotions. It's always, distracted. So therefore, first we have to tame our mind. So that's why we have to meditate on Shamatha. And there's few techniques mentioned in the instruction book. And then we have to see which technique is more suitable to your mind. We have to check for a few days which is more suitable to your mind. If one technique is quite good, then you do not have to try with another technique. You just hold the one technique and try for the next 21 days or a month. So this calms our mind, as we focus on single thing. For example, on a breath, we focus on breath, so our mind calms down. All the chattering of thoughts and emotion vanish, and we feel very peace. We practice Shamatha for 21 days to calm down our mind of our thoughts and emotions, and we have to pacify our distracted mind, to to get ready to actually engage in the Mahamudra practice. So after the shamatha, we practice another 21 days or a month of vipassana. Vipassana is like we're searching for our mind, the nature of mind. We always say we have mind, but we do not know where is our mind and how it is our mind. We feel like our mind is exist. I have mind. My mind is that. I'm not happy. I'm not, I'm happy. My mind is happy. But we usually don't, see and think about our mind. So Vipassana is like all about to see your mind, your thoughts, your emotion. And you have to convict yourself with the nature of mind. So when you see your mind, as it is not something like coarse, something we cannot see and touch, or like it has no shape and color. So that's why we constantly check our mind during the Vipassana practice. Then the practitioner is come to a certain point that our mind does not exist by itself. It is just there, but we cannot see, touch. And then the next is the Mahamudra practice itself. And then Mahamudra is just to see your mind. There's no we are not supposed to check our mind and emotion and thoughts. We just have to relax our body in a 7 Vajrasattva posture, and then just be aware with the present moment, of our mind. But for the beginners, it's quite difficult, but by getting accounted, getting getting used to it, then we can a little bit see the nature of our mind. But for the beginners, we cannot truly able to maintain our mind in the natural state. It's very difficult. But with the practice, it has some we can see some improvement in our meditation. So we do usually 2 months of Mahamudra practice, Mahamudra meditation. And then after Mahamudra meditation, we do dedication practice for 21 days or sometimes a month, and sometimes at least a week of dedication practice. So that's all the 5-fold Mahamudra.
Yeah. So if we add everything together, how long would that be so far, more or less, based on the times you've given?
Yeah, it will take probably 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, if we take the short break in the between.
Mm-hmm. So each time you're coming out, sometimes for the instruction, you take a small break.
Yeah. After we have to receive the first instruction, first part, and then enter into the retreat, and you finish that part, and then you have to come out, and then receive the next part from your guru, and then study for a few days, and it's up to you, how many days you take some break for study, We just do not stay without any purpose, We have to study the practice before we actually enter the retreat. So it's up to us, like a week or 2,
And also another question is, you say it takes 3 weeks, 1 month, but what does that entail? What is one day like? Like how many hours do you practice in one day? How?
There's every time there's 4 sessions in a day, and then when we enter into retreat, we have to wake up around 3 or 3:30 in the morning time. Then we have to start our first session which is like 3 hours, and then we take break for breakfast, and then start the second session, and then lunch, and then third session, and then another short break, and then fourth session. We have 4 sessions in a day.
Each one is 3 hours?
No, the first one is 3 hours, and it's the second one. It's up to the practitioner, you know. Like for me, the first session it takes 3 hours, and the second and third session 2.5 hours, and then third one is also 3 hours. It's up to the practitioner. If you feel tired and you cannot do the long period, then you can shorten your session. It's up to the practitioner, you know. Yeah. So it will, it takes probably 2 years to complete 5-4 Mahamudra. Yeah.
Then you finish this also yourself?
Yeah, I have already finished this practice within 2 years, more than 2 years, because in the between, you know, I have like couple of months had teaching from different masters, so we had to have longer break in the between. So that's why it took more time for me.
How long it took for you?
Like for 2.5 years to complete 5-4 Mahamudra. Yes.
From Lodong Namshi, from Four Thoughts to here.
To the dedication.
So now, what are you working on nowadays there?
Right now I'm in a a short break
from Losar.
For Losar, not just for Losar, but also we have some Chakrasamvara Drupon in our retreat center, so that's why we are having this break. Yeah, then now I'm practicing 6 Yogas of Naropa. So yeah, I've already done the Vajravarahi practice, Vajrayogini practice, and then Tummo practice. Yeah.
How long do 6 yogas take usually?
It also takes probably 2 years. Yeah. It's up to the practitioner. You know, some practitioners get sick, especially in our center. It's in between the thick jungle, you know, thick forest. So it's very wet and because of moisture. You know, practitioner gets sick and cannot continue like quickly. You know, they have to see the doctors and have some health issues. So that's why it takes longer time.
So this is all the fivefold Mahamudra, Chakchen Ngaden, and Narochodruk, the 6 yogas of Naropa.
Yes.
This is all before you join the 3-year retreat.
Yeah. Right? In Drikung Kagyu tradition, you know, actually people, you know, popularly says that the 3 years retreat, many people, even in Drikung Kagyu lineage, people call this practice for 5-4 Mahamudra in 6 yogas of Naropa is a 3-year retreat, but actually it is not. For the first time, we practice 5-4 Mahamudra in 6 yogas of Naropa. It's the, you know, like stages of path. We have to practice stages of path as a beginner. Then we have to repeat it again, like at least 2 or 3 times, 5-4 Mahamudra in 6 yogas of Naropa. And then, according to Drikung Kagyu tradition, 3 years retreat means you only do Mahamudra teaching for 45 days. 3 years and 45 days. Only Mahamudra, nothing else. Not chanting, not counting, no mantra. So yeah, this now what we are doing right now is 5-4 Mahamudra practice and 6 yogas of Naropa. It is, people call it 3-year retreat, but actually it's not. It is just a practice of stages of the path, according to Drikung Kagyu tradition. Then to be able to do the 3-year retreat, actual 3-year retreat, you have to repeat 5-4 Mahamudra practice at least 2 or 3 times, you know, like repeat 3 times all over again until you have some strong conviction to do the 5 Mahamudra 3-year retreat.
From the Ngodrup?
Yeah. Like at least 2 or 3 times we have to repeat and practice repeatedly. And then you enter the actual 3-year retreat, 3 year and 45 days, which only practice Mahamudra. There's no mantra chanting, no recitation, no supplication, just you practice Mahamudra for whole 3 and 45 days without break. Just yourself in a small cave or retreat cottage. Like our real guru, His Eminence Drubwang Rinpoche did in Lapchi back in early 2000, like 2001 to 3, around that time. He totally spent 10 years in Lapchi doing retreat, mostly on 5-fold Mahamudra, repeated 2 or 3 times, and then he did the 3 years and 45 days of 3 years retreat only on Mahamudra practice. So this is the special in Drikung Kagyu lineage, But nowadays people, popularly call this the practice of stages of the path of 5-fold Mahamudra is also called 3 years retreat, but actually it is not.
There is also footage of Nupa Rinpoche in Lapchi in this documentary, Yogas of Tibet. If anybody wants to see, it's nice. He's there with another yogi in Lapchi. Right?
Yes, la. As Drubwang Nupa Rinpoche, he also did a retreat, not just retreat in solitude place, just in daily life. I've seen in his biography, back in Tibet during the Chinese invasion, he lived as a layperson. He had to live as a layperson and work in an office. So during the daily life in office, walking on the road, and then working as a secretary in some office back in Lhasa. He also practiced every time during the daily life. I was so amazed to learn his how he practiced in daily life. Like even walking towards his office, coming back from the office to the room, he's like practicing. At that time, it is very difficult to practice openly. It is strictly prohibited by the Chinese. So he secretly practiced within. So Drubwang Nupa Rinpoche was practicing in Tibet, in daily life like that. And then for the first time he came to Nepal and then to India in 1992 to visit His Holiness Chaitanya Rinpoche and to have his blessing and teachings. And then when he came to India, at that time the monastery, Changchukling Monastery, was at the beginning of its study philosophy. So Chaitanya Rinpoche, His Holiness Chaitanya Rinpoche, appointed Nupa Rinpoche as a headmaster there. And then he served there for 1 month as a headmaster and teach the students about ethics and student about philosophy, Buddhist teaching, how to be a good practitioner, as he was a very good practitioner even at that time. So after serving for a couple of years in monastery, he really have this vision to do retreat in Lapchi, because he had been in very difficult times back in Tibet. So then he requested Holiness to have leave from the monastery to start his retreat. And then he went to Lapchi at that time in 1998 or 99. It was very difficult trail to Lapchi at that time. The facility was so poor. He had to endure so much hardship. The food is like just tsamba, mostly tsamba and just water. And then the rooms are not, like good. It was just cave and some, it was so difficult at that time. And he did 10 years retreat in total, but not straight, but he did first 3 years straight, 5-4 Mahāmudrā and 6 Yogas of Naropa. And then he took a break for a year and then traveled to around the world and teach at the request of his students around the world. And then he went to Lapchi again and did a couple of years again. And then 3 years of Mahāmudrā teaching straight. Yeah. So total he did almost 10 years retreat in Lapchi. Yes. And then he came back to Rinchen monastery at the request of the monks here, and they founded Sangchen Retreat Center in 2014. Since then, many students from around the world, mostly monks and nuns, mostly monks, and then come here and receive 5-4 Mahāmudrā teachings from him, and they continue retreat until now. Yeah.
Which is where you're staying now?
Yeah, which is where I'm staying now and practice 5-4 Mahāmudrā in 6 Yogas of Naropa. But now His Eminence Nupa Rinpoche is staying in monastery as he retired from the teaching position in retreat center. So now we have new Drupon Khenpo Thinley Namgyal Rinpoche. So yeah, Rinpoche is now relaxing in the monastery as he is already 84 years old, and yeah, quite difficult to teach students nowadays. So yeah, we are now receiving teachings and instruction from new Drupon Khenpo Thinley Namgyal Rinpoche.
And Drupon Thinley Namgyal Rinpoche also spent a long time in Lapchi, right?
Yeah, he graduated from Changchuli Monastery, the Shedra, Kagyu College, and he got the Khenpo degree. And then he moved to Lapchi for retreat in 2011. He did like 12 to 13 years retreat in Lapchi itself, straight. And then last year, His Holiness Drikung Kagyu and His Eminence Drubwang Nupa Rinpoche appointed him as a Drupon. Drupon means the meditation master who can instruct the meditation students. Yeah, now he is working as a Drupon in our center.
And when he was in Lapchi, he was mostly training under the then Lapchi Dorzin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He mostly he received teachings from Lapchi Dorzin Rinpoche, who had been in retreat for the last 30 years. Lapchi Dorzin Rinpoche came from Tibet and then did a couple of years retreat in Dehradun. Then he was sent to Lapchi as a Dorzin by Holiness. And then he, until now, it's been like 30 years. He's been retreat himself, and then he's also, he's been instructing the students there. Now there are like more than 30 retreatant around the world in Lapchi. So Dorzin Nupa Rinpoche is also retired just last year, and then he's spending relaxed and retreat, doing retreat by himself nowadays in Lapchi. And then we have new Dorzin for the instruction to new beginners.
Lapchi Dorzin Khenpo Ngodrup.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So very, very nice to see that there is a new generation coming forth also.
Yeah.
And the teachings are being upheld.
It's very special, like Holiness was also surprised last year during the Phuntsok in Lapchi in 2024, was saying that he personally asked me with surprise, Holiness, that he see the many young generation during the retreat. So he was very happy and asked me how many monks from Dehradun, Shedra, Buddhist college here, doing retreat nowadays in Sangchen in Lapchi. So I counted it, there's almost 20 retreatants from who already studied the Buddhist philosophy and doing retreat right now. And Holiness was very happy. Yeah. So after COVID, COVID is, sometimes I feel COVID is very good to inspire many younger generation to start retreat on Fivefold Mahamudra and 6 Yogas of Naropa. Say after the COVID, there are many young generation doing retreat, which is very good. Still continue, the younger generation have this curiosity to join the retreat center and start practice. Yeah.
And also you mentioned this title, Dorzin. Maybe you can tell us what this title means.
It's the title that usually Dorzin means in the Dorje Zimba, the Vajra holder, which is the title of the substitute master, as the throne holder of Drikung Kagyu lineage cannot go to three places. Back in Tibet, the title comes from the time of Lord Jigten Sumgun. One day, when Lord Jigten Sumgun was around 62 years old, I think, or 72 years. At that time, he sent the last retreatant to the three places of Lapchi, Kailash, Sari, and Kangri. Lapchi. There are three most, secret place of Chakrasamvara, which is called three: Kailash, Sari, Kangri, Lachi, which is all belong to Drikung Kagyu lineage. Because during the Lord Jigten Sumgun time, he sent thousands of students to those secret places to do retreat. So he appointed one master. He sent 25,525 retreatants to Lapchi, and each number to each places.
55,000, no?
55,525 to each these three places, right?
To Mount Kailash, to
Lapchi, and then Sari. Yeah. So he appointed one master, which he called Dorzin, as his substitute, so who can instruct all the meditators.
His representative, I guess we can say.
Yeah, representative. Yeah, so they traveled all these places and spend their whole life doing retreat on Mahamudra, Fivefold Mahamudra mostly, and then 6 Yogas of Naropa. Since then, this title was there. So every throne holder sent the Dorzin, to each places to guide the retreatant until now.
So this title has been passed on for 800 plus years.
Yes.
So now we have, I think the current Lapchi Dorzin Khenpo Ngodrup, he is the 45th.
45th or 42nd, in 40s there.
Yes.
Yeah. Now the Lapchi, His Holiness Drikung Kagyu Chezang will send the Dorzin from India and Nepal. And then Sari and Kailash, it sent from the Drikung Monastery from Tibet. Yeah, as it is in like Chinese region and Tibet region, so we cannot send from here. So Lapchi is in Nepal, so Holiness will appoint the Dorzin there. Yeah.
These the previous Lapchi Dorzin, Lapchi Dorzin, Dhondup Palden, who is still staying in Lapchi sometimes.
Yeah.
Along with the current Lapchi Dorzin. I asked because Lapchi, I haven't been to Lapchi myself, but I understand maybe feeding 55,000 plus people might have been a challenge because of the space and the resources. And Lapchi Dorzin mentioned that in fact, it was not just Lapchi, but Lapchi and the surrounding areas, which include Zum, Nubri, even Chubar also. I think even Manang.
That's true.
So there is also, as I understand, they're trying to renew this tradition for the Lapchi Dorzin to not just be in Lapchi, but also right now they're establishing retreat centers there, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think in Zoom there is one. Recently I heard they're near the Milarepa cave.
Dorzin Rinpoche sent a couple of his students who have been in retreat for like more than 15 years in Lapchi. Then he appointed them as a Drupon, the meditation guide, and then they sent to Tsum and Manang to guide the new retreat there. Now we have like few retreat cottage there, and then there are few samba, few retreat right now, and they are engaged in their own practice now.
And each one of these places is also next to a Milarepa cave. Right? So there is also
it's also a secret place of Milarepa,
which is also interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah.
And Lapchi Dorzin, also he has composed different texts.
Yes.
Correct.
That's true.
Among one of these is the biography of Kyopa Chikten Sungkhan, Lord Chikten Sungkhan, which, even though there's been different biographies throughout history, because he's obviously very important Lama, he's the founder of the lineage, but his biography, this recent biography, is a compilation of different ones. Is that right? Or how do you...
Yeah, this biography that he composed recently, a few years back, is quite like detailed, like very detailed. It compiled from the other sources, other biographies, which are not that much in detail or organized, So he compiled from the old biographies, and then other collected works of Lord Chikten Sungkhan and other famous Tibetan history. Then he compiled all together and composed in a very, like detailed way.
And poetic.
Yeah, in poetic.
So me and Khenpo Tashila, we are currently working translating this text, this biography of Lord Chikten Sungkhan. And our friend Lisa also, she's helping us, and she's also gathering some funds so we can sponsor this project. So anybody who wishes to help, I will put a link in the description of this video, and so we are able to produce this translation, which, according to the wishes of Lapchi Dorzin Rinpoche, it will be available for free in English once it's ready. So that being said, also I want to thank Annie Vivi, who is also in retreat now. She's been in retreat in Lapchi, I'm not sure, maybe 5 or 6 years, I believe, but she's the mastermind behind this translation project. So thank you very much, Annie Vivi. I know you will see this someday, maybe, when you come out of retreat. So do you have any last remarks? Anything else you'd like to share?
I would like to share some on how important to know the biographies of all masters. Like Lord Chikten Sungkhan, it's very important to know how they engage in the practice of Dharma and how they see their root guru as a, like to be able to realize the Mahamudra or to realize the nature of our mind or get enlightenment. We have to have pure devotion based on study, based on, like reason, not just blind faith, but you have to have conviction towards your root guru, which is the real Buddha, like actual Buddha. So therefore, it's very important to read biographies of the past masters like Kagyu masters, Milarepa, Marpa, like Khenpo and Lord Jigten Sunggon. So it's very important. Like, without knowing their the story, how they practice Dharma, it's very difficult for us as a modern practitioner to carry on with the Dharma.
Yeah.
So translating the biographies into English is, it's very beneficial. So other readers, Western readers, can read the biographies and can learn from their life story. It is called Namthar in Tibetan, like it's liberating life story. So that name itself is meaningful. By reading their story, we can, like they can inspire us through their life story. So we can inspire ourselves to engage in the, Dharma practice. So, like for example, Milarepa biographies and the realization songs, Guru is very famous all around the world. So just by reading, his biographies, it's inspire, lighten up our mind. So while we are doing such practice, then by reading Milarepa's biography and Lord Jigten Sunggon's biography, it inspires us to carry on. Like their hardship is way more bigger than our hardship is nothing, in front of their hardship. So it's very important to know their life story so that it inspires us to carry on with our Dharma practice. So I'm really happy to help you to, like translate the biography of Lord Jigten Sunggon, and then hope we will continue translating such beautiful teachings and biographies in the future. Thank you for your translation.
Well, I couldn't do it without you actually, so thank you.
I'm just curious to help, because I'm not an expert, but I'm very curious to learn.
From my perspective, you are an expert. But yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you also for your time. And I will put a link somewhere in the description if anybody would like to support the retreat and Tara Sangchen. You can put them directly in contact with the Drupon and Namgyal, and you can get good karma by supporting people who are doing intensive retreat. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you tell us how come?
It's not
we need to stop. Airplane. I'll ask you again why there's two heads.
And then where we have to chant 100,000s of mantra.
This one is very loud also.
Yeah. The smaller one.